Let's look at some past paper questions. So now this one, the original graph is y being f of x, right? Let me put this in red. This is y is f of x, right? Now we have a new gx. The gx is twice fx, all right? So now if gx is twice fx, what is the corresponding change? The corresponding change will be stretching up, vertical stretching up and down by 2 times. Vertical stretch by 2 times, alright? That is when you multiply to 2 outside the bracket. But now we want to see A, B, C, D, which of them is G. But if you look at the first glance, the 4 diagrams, they are all the same in A, B, C, D. But if you look carefully, you see that the numbers, they are not the same. The numbers, they are not the same, which means that these 4, they are not to the same scale, alright? But once we realize it is stretching up and down, first we know when you stretch up and down, the reference point on the x-axis, they do not change. We are pulling these apart, alright, up and down. So the new graph looks like something like this. Right, or let me draw a better one. Right, this is better, right? You are pulling it along the you are pulling using the x-axis as center line. What is above the x-axis is being pulled up. What is below the x-axis is being pulled down. So 2 and 6 do not change. So where does this minus 2 goes? This will go to minus 4. Alright, because it's 2 times, alright. So what was minus 2 on the y-axis becomes minus 4. So the y-intercept should be minus 4, and the x-intercept, there is no change. So this should be the answer D, alright. This is the answer. So this is y being twice fx, alright. Okay, but let's imagine, how about the others? What are the other graph, alright? We know that this one, B, will be y is half of fx, alright? You obtain B by compressing the graph up and down, alright? The original, this is the green one, right? This is half of fx. The original one should be like this. Alright, we are compressing. If you look at the original diagram, let's say this is the red one, alright? The red one will be like this. And the green one is made by compressing the red one along the x-axis. A vertical compression, shall I say. It's a vertical compression, right? The x-intercepts do not change, but what used to be minus 2 is now becoming minus 1. Alright. So this is the name of the graph in item B. Okay. A and C, they are more complicated. A and C, they are 2 compression and stretching. Alright. If you take a look at the original red graph, if you do a horizontal compression, what used to be 2 and 6, if you compress it horizontally, it becomes 1 and 3. Alright? What used to be 2 and 6 like here becomes 1 and 3. Alright? But the y-intercept do not change in the horizontal compression. Right? If the red one is y being f of x, the orange one will be y being f of 2x. Alright? It's a compression left and right. You multiply by a number greater than 1. Alright, but there's no such option. There's no 1, 3, and minus 2 for the orange one, right? So we have to do further compression or stretching to obtain A and C. Alright, from the orange one, if you compress up and down again, alright, so that the minus 2 becomes minus 1, that means if I colored it in yellow in A, alright, then the graph of A, the equation of A will be y being half of f2x. Alright, that 2x is vertical compression. That 1/2 is horizontal compression. Alright, so that you can obtain the yellow graph. And finally, in purple, you have this purple graph in C. Right? The equation for the C should be y being twice f2x. Right? F2x will be horizontal compression by 2 times, so that the x-intercepts 2 and 6 becomes 1 and 3. And then you do a vertical stretching 2 times, so that the y-intercept -2 becomes -4. Right, so A and C, they're more complicated, right? But anyways, for this question, the answer should be D. Now next up we have this question. So the prototype of the curve is y being sin x. Alright, so we apply 2 changes to sin x. This is the this is the new graph, right? In purple, this is the new graph. But we know the original one is y being sin x. This is the original one. Y is sin x. Alright. So we apply 2 changes to sin x. First of all, we multiply to a. Alright. We take a multiplication to a. So y is a sin x. Alright. And then we add theta to it. So we have y is a sin x plus theta. Y is a sine of x plus theta. Alright. So now let's see what are the corresponding changes. When you multiply to a, you stretch it up and down by how many times? Let's see. The original sine graph, the highest point was 1. Now it becomes 2. So we know that the stretching power, the stretching factor is 2. Alright. You are stretching up and down by a factor of 2. So that this is in green, we have y is 2 sin x. Alright, so that the highest point is now 2. Okay, if you extend the y-axis. Now, moreover, the original point here was 90. Alright, but now you move to 135. That means you are moving the whole graph to the right-hand side by 45 degrees. Alright, the peak used to be 90, but now it's at 145. Moving to the right-hand side by 45 degrees means the new equation becomes you replace all the x with x minus 45. Right? It's a translation. If you move to the right-hand side by 45 degrees, you replace all the x with x minus 45 degrees. Alright. So this is it. This is the answer. It's 2 sine of x minus 45 degrees. So we have a equals to 2. And theta equals to minus 45. So the answer goes to, when a is 2, theta is minus 45 degrees, the answer is C. All right. Now there is a quick way to check the answer. Right. Because we have this point, all right, the coordinate of this point is x is 135, y is 2. So we can check whether this equation accepts the coordinate. I mean, the coordinate shall satisfy the equation, alright? Otherwise, that will be wrong, alright? In fact, for this particular equation, you don't really have to know anything about transformation. You just take this A, B, C, D and check each of these answers one by one. For example, if the answer were A, then we have y is minus 2 sine x minus 45. If the answer were B, then we have y is minus 2 sine x plus 45. So you can check these x and y with 135 and 2, alright, to see whether which of these answer will accept the answer x is 135, y is 2. Alright, you can check these A, B, C, D answers one by one until you find the right answer. You don't really have to go through these green and purple steps. Alright. So this is a trick in MC question you can do. But if you want to do it properly, then you can follow the transformation, right? You start from the red graph, and then you stretch up and down so that you have the green graph, and then you move to the right-hand side by 45 units until you arrive at the purple graph. From the purple graph, you get A and theta. That is the proper way to do that. But as an MC question, the shortcut is you can check the answer one by one.